Hey guys, Lindsay here, and today we're going to take a few minutes to talk about percentages, decimals, fractions, and how to convert in between them. So I have an example up here, and it says convert 45% to a decimal. Now, percent really means per 100. Cent, there's 100 cents in a dollar. Cent means 100, and per, if we look at that like this, 45%, we could actually write that as 45 per 100. And that is actually how this says convert to a decimal, but there we have it in fraction form. And then if you were to take your calculator and do 45 divided by 100, you would get that in decimal form. But another way to do it is if I take my 45 up here, percent. Now, I don't see a decimal in that 45. And when I have a whole number, I don't see a decimal. The decimal is actually invisible and sitting right at the end. So this 45 has a decimal right there. And if I want to convert 45 to a decimal, I'm going to divide it by 100. Or you could think about it like just moving the decimal 2 to the left. So I'm going to take this decimal from the back of the 5 and put it here to the front. That's one spot. And then I'm going to do that again to the front of the 4. And my answer is going to be 0.45. That's 45% written as a decimal. If I want to take a look at a second example, and I'll just squeeze a second example in here. What happens if I have a number that's bigger than 2 decimals or 2 digits? Let's say I have 256%. If I wanted to write that as a decimal, again, the decimal is sitting right there. So if I want to move that 2 to the left, in front of the 6, now in front of the 5, 2.56 is 256% written as a decimal. So hopefully that makes sense. You're really just moving the decimal. And the nice thing about this is if I've got a decimal and I want to convert it back to a percent, just moving the decimal the other way. So I've got 5.21. Now 5.21, I want to write that as a percentage. I am going to move, instead of moving the decimal to the left, I'm going to move it to the right, 2. So 521, these are now the decimals at the end. But I can't leave it like that. If I want to convert it into a percent, I need to make sure that I write that percentage sign at the end to make it correct. Let's take a look at one more example. So let's say that I wanted to convert a smaller number. Let's say I wanted to convert 9 to a percent. And, wow, that's a larger number, sorry. I've got 5.21, now I've got 9. I want to convert 9 to a percent. I need to move the decimal this time to the right 2. The decimal's right here. So I move it once, and then I move it twice, but there's nothing there to move it around. So I'm going to put zeros in as placeholders. So 9 converted into a percent would actually be 900%. So don't be afraid if there's nothing to move around, just add zeros to make that happen. Let me just make myself some room and we'll look at a couple more examples. Okay. So let's take a look at 2 more quick examples. This time we're going to convert a percentage to a fraction, and we actually did that in our first example, but we'll take a look at it just kind of clearly on its own. When I've got 20% and I want to convert that into a fraction, I'm going to take this number, the 20. And then remember, percent means per 100. So I'm just going to do this. 20%, 20 per 100. There it is, and if I want to take that one step farther, I can reduce the fraction. So a couple different ways to do this, but any number that you can think of that divides evenly into both of those will work. I'm going to start with 10. 10 divides evenly into 20 and 100. I just get to remove one of the zeros. Oh, let's get rid of that extra 0 I should have removed. I've got 2 out of 10, but I can actually reduce that one step farther, which is fine, because those are both even numbers. So I end up with 1/5, and that's the same as 20%. I have another example here. I've got 2/10. that's a percentage, or sorry, a fraction, and I want to convert that into a percent. Now, if you had your calculator, it would be pretty quick and easy for you to do that, because a fraction is just a division question. So in your calculator, 2 divided by 10 would give you a number, and if you were to do that, you would get 0.20 in your calculator. There's my value as a decimal, but if I want to know what that is as a percent, here's another one of those times where I'm going to move the decimal. And this time I'm going to go 2 to the right, because just like our last example, we're going from decimal to percent, so this is going 2 to the right. So I get 20%. So it's kind of a handy skill to have, because if you got 2 out of 10 on a test, you got 20% on that test. You didn't do very well. But hopefully that helps you kind of understand the relationship between fractions and percents and between decimals and percentages.